idea as whenever we talk about a volume of any 3D shape, our volume is equal to the area of the base times the height of the shape. Okay, what I mean by that is this over here, that's my triangular base. So I would need to work out the area of that base, and then I'm going to multiply it by the height of my shape. Okay, the place that people make the most common mistake in these questions is they see that it looks like the base is a rectangle, and so they work it out as a rectangular prism instead of working out the base that's looking at them and then taking the height of that shape. Okay. All right, so if we were working out the area of this base over here, that is a triangle, and the area of a triangle is equal to half base times height. So we're going to make our little perpendicular height. Remember, your base and height always have to be perpendicular to each other. That's going to be your base. That's going to be your perpendicular height. Ooh. Sorry. And that's going to be your main height of your shape. Okay. So if I'm working out my volume over here, it's going to be half base times height times big height. So that's the height of my shape. And that is the area of my base. So that's the area of the triangle. And that is the height or length of shape. Okay. Before we move into any examples or going through any of this, does anyone have any questions about this formula? Anything that you don't really understand, you would like clarification on? Please feel free to ask before we do an example. There's no shame in asking questions. So only learn through questions. And often you ask a question that other people are wanting to ask. So don't ever be embarrassed to ask a question. Oh, Yolanda, it looks like there's quite a few people who aren't connected to audio. Do you mind reaching out to some of them?
Yep, we are talking, but I don't get any response.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, so I'm taking from the silence that we are happy with this. If you're not, just let me know. Please feel free to take a screenshot, and then we're going to go over an example ourselves, and then I'm going to let you try one by yourselves. Okay. Cool. So this would be a very simple question here. Okay, there's nothing scandalous about it. It would just be like a normal routine type question. There's a couple of things that have been put in here to throw you off, but other than that, we're good. Okay, so we need to find the area of our base, and then we need to times it by the height of our shape. Now, when we're looking at that area of our base, we need to think of two important things. We need a base and we need a height. Okay. It's really, really important that you remember that whenever we're dealing with triangles and parallelograms, your base has to be perpendicular to your height. Okay. So for this one, all I would say is that my volume is going to equal half times 7 times 3. So that over there is the area of my triangle. And then I'm going to times it by 12 because that is my height. Okay. For those who are wanting to see what the formula looks like, it would be half base times height times our big height. So half times 7 times 3 times 12. We just chuck that straight into our calculator exactly like that. And we're going to get 126. Check your units. So dealing with centimeters, and its volume, so it is going to be cubed. Okay, I would like for everybody to put this line over here into their calculators and make sure that they get the correct answer. So just making sure that you're inputting things into your calculator correctly, because if you're not, that is a very silly place to lose a mark. And otherwise, I just want to make sure that everyone is happy with this. So the trap for the question that just came in the messages, the trap in this question was the fact that they gave us the 3.5 centimeters because we didn't need to use it. So the 3.5 centimeters is neither a base nor a height, and it's not the height of my shape. And so it is not any of these variables that we care about when it comes to working out our volume. And so because of that, we get to ignore it. So Mkelo, how can I help?
Can I ask, where did the 3,5 go?
So it doesn't go anywhere, we just don't use it. So because we don't need it for our volume formula, we just don't input it. So it's still there, we just don't need it.
Oh.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions about this one? Yeah, it's just it's tricky. Its sole purpose is because people are going to want to use it somewhere. Apiwe, how can I help?
Hello, ma'am. So just to clarify something, for that for the formula, it says half times b times h, and it says times h again. For that last h, are we using the height of the triangle or the height of the rectangle?
No, so this over here, this big H, that's the height of the shape. And this little h over here, that's the height of triangle.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. Nice job. All right, take a screenshot if you would like. And then I'm going to give you one to try by yourselves. Remember, if you are struggling with things, you just got to let me know. If you are too embarrassed to post the question to everyone, you're welcome to send me a direct message or send you Linda a direct message. Both of us can help you if you let us know.
We'll be here.
All right. Okay, I would like the volume of this triangular prism. And I'm not going to say anything. I want you to figure it out. And when you have an answer, I'd like you to put your answers in the chat for me. We'll see who can get this one right. So who is going to fall for my traps? Who is not going to fall for my traps? We shall see. So as soon as you are happy with your answer, post your answer in the chat for me, and we'll go from there. I can tell you right now that there is a trap. So look for the trap before you answer. I don't know, Yanela. I don't know. I know nothing.
You can do this, my pibs. Remember, go with whatever instincts that gives you. Just do it. Do it.
I often tilt my head in these types of questions. I'm like, yeah, imagine this was in your test or your exam. Do what you think you would do in that situation, because you don't have me in your test or exam to help you.
I can tell you there's no tricks, my pibs. There's no tricks. Just do what you see that you need to do. That's all.
Tiana, do you have a question?
Ma'am, I feel like I want to answer this question.
Okay, so so for this one, I'm actually going to answer this one for everyone, just because it's a little bit different to the one that we just did. But I like the enthusiasm, so keep that enthusiasm coming. And when we get to our next questions, I will be looking for your hand. Okay, we've got some answers coming in. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Inga, how can I help? Oh, I like that you're changing your unit. Inga? There are some good answers coming in. All right, I'm taking that as a sign that I can get going. Ooh, I'm just throwing my pen around over here. Okay. So the key for this question is we have to work out the area of our base. We know that's the triangular base, and we got to times it by our height. Okay. But if I'm trying to figure out the area of that base over there, I need my little b, which I have, and then I need my little h, which I do not have. But I do have a right angle triangle. And when we have a right angle triangle, we can use Pythagoras. So I'm going to do it the quick way, but remember, you can always do it the long way. H is equal to the square root of 25 squared minus 20 squared. And my reason for that is Pythagoras. Okay. We can stick that straight into our calculator exactly like that, and we get 15 millimeters. So if you did it the long way, you should still get the same answer, 15 millimeters. Okay. Once we have that, we've got our height. That was the important thing to do here. So our volume is half times base times height times big height. So half times 20 times 15 times big height, which is 32. And that gives us a total of 4,800 millimeters cubed. Yeah, sure. So Anna, when we're trying to find a missing side in a right angle triangle, we always are going to use this idea of Pythagoras. So Pythagoras's idea is that if we have a right angle triangle, your hypotenuse squared is equal to the sum of your other two sides squared. All right. So in this case over here, 25 squared is equal to h squared, because we don't know what h is, plus 20 squared. So 625 is equal to h squared plus 400. I'm going to move that 400 over. So 225 is equal to h squared, which means h is equal to 15. Now, the reason we have to figure out this 15 over here is because it's perpendicular to our base. So yes, they gave us two values in our triangle, but whenever we're working out an area of a triangle, that base has to be perpendicular to our height, which means we had to find our h. So the 15 is coming from our height that we found over here, coming from that 15. So once we have found the height, then we can put it into our volume formula. Patience, that full stop is saying a lot. Do you have questions to follow the full stop? I'm happy to answer them. Okay. And guys, if you don't feel like you can type your question, just pop your hand up. We can talk through it. I want you to understand these, especially now that you're going into test and exam season. So if there's stuff here that you don't get, you must just ask. I'll happily talk you through it. Okay, so this over here, this is just looking at the long way of doing Pythagoras, and that is just the short way of doing Pythagoras, but we get to the same point. So whichever way you feel comfortable doing it, that's what you must do. Okay. And then once we have found that, you can just pop it into the volume formula. Cool. Okay, guys, before we move on, I'm actually going to ask you a bit of a weird question. So I'm just going to do a quick poll with you, but I want you to listen very carefully before I launch the poll as to what you must do. I know a lot of you are starting exams much earlier than we anticipated. And so this course is supposed to go on for another 3 lessons. So on Thursday and then next Tuesday and Thursday. And I would like to know if instead of going into continuing with surface area and volume on Thursday, if you would rather start with vision from Thursday. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick poll. I want you to choose what you like, what you're actually wanting to do. Don't do what the rest of the class thinks you should do. You must do what you wanting to choose. And all it is, so I'm just going to quickly pop this on here. So if you would like to continue with surface area and volume from Thursday, or if you would like to start revision from Thursday. Okay. Just gonna pop this up now. Give me a second. Now I've lost you guys. Like I can see you, but I also can't see. Okay, here we go. Poll. Contents. Launched. All right, so this is just from Thursday if you want to continue with surface area and volume, or if you want to do revision. So just choose. Don't feel forced to do any. Just choose which one you feel like you would like to do. And I can't promise that the majority vote is what will happen, but it'll definitely be taken into account as we move forward. So maybe we won't start on Thursday. Maybe we'll only start next Tuesday with revision, but I'll see what I can do. Okay, so just vote quickly. There's still about 14 of you to vote. Well, you can't choose both because I can't split myself in 2. Patience, why is it going to be a long few weeks? Is it because you're stressing about exams? I must try and split myself in 2. Andela, I'll be so sad. I'd be a half a version of myself. It's taken me 30-something years to become this whole version. Tiana, how can I help?
Ma'am, so like I have a question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, know how in the holidays we still have class. Ma'am, like so December is gonna be Decembering. So like, are we gonna have school or like we can't be having school in December?
No. So December you'll have like a December holiday. So we I think we're gonna stop our lessons very early in December. I think it's like the 3rd or something of December. So you'll have a normal December holiday.
Okay, and then does ma'am teach grade 10s? Because like next year we're gonna see ma'am's face again, ma'am now.
I don't know where our will be next year. But all of the Watobe teachers are amazing. So whoever you will end up in a class with, you will be very happy to have.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, but again, Yandela, I can't split myself up into multiple places. Yeah, if you move overseas, you'd still be able to do Watobe. We're actually not going to do our brain break right now because we're early. Oh, we can do our brain break early. Exactly. Mr. Peter and Coco are both lovely. You are going to be in good hands. You guys don't know, you don't know Miss Whitehorn yet because she teaches the grade 8. She's also lovely. So you don't need to stress. So let's go to Brian the Thought Cage, as he is now being renamed. I'll change his birth certificate when I get a chance, but you know, like government work, it takes a long time. So we'll just have to wait until it becomes official. And let's go through these. I know it's a little bit early, but we'll zoom through them and then we can get into the spicy questions. So there's 3 today. There's one which is very mathsy, but it's actually like, it's quite easy if you actually do it and you don't just try and guess what the word is. You'll be fine. And then there's 2 dingbats for you. Yeah, exactly. Home affairs is a long line. So I don't know if we're going to be able to change Brian's name officially, but we will all just know him as Brian the Thought Cage from now on. All right, so this first one, I am looking for what word this is. And if you just work it out, you'll be able to get it very quickly. I promise you. I am seeking that word. Do not fall for my trap. Lonwabo, have you got an answer for me?
No, I don't have an answer,
Okay.
but like I would like to ask a question. So tomorrow I'm writing my paper 2 exam and I recently joined Watobe.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask questions of how can you prove that 2 lines are parallel to each other?
So in order to prove that 2 lines are parallel to each other, you either have to show that the alternate angles are equal to each other, or that the corresponding angles are equal to each other, or that the co-interior angles are equal to 180. So basically you're like trying to do the reverse of the things that we know about parallel lines. I'll write it up for you as soon as we finished the brain break so that you've got it in your book. I'm still in the Halloween mindset, guys. Give me a break. It's still early November. I'm allowed to continue my Halloween vibes. But yes, your answers are coming in right. I like it. And I am being salty because of these, but it is salt. S-A-L-T. Halloween forever, exactly. So just quickly for those of you who didn't know how we got there, this times 7 has to give us 70, which means that needs to be a 10, which gives us our S for salt. And we've got our first pumpkin because they're different pumpkins. Our first pumpkin times 10 is to give us 10, so that's a 1. That's going to be our L. And then our second pumpkin times 9 has to give us 9, so our second pumpkin is T. So salt, 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 salt. Okay, the 2 dingbats today are actually really nice and easy. The second one is a little bit tougher than the first one, but if you think about it, you'll be fine. And so really the dingbats are more a case of being the quickest person to type. So let's see who can get their answer in the chat first. All right. Dingbat number 1. What is this? Tiana, what is this?
Ma'am, I have no idea, but I think it's reading in between the lines.
Yes, that's right. Why are you saying you have no idea? You're correct. This is definitely, if you said reading in between, it's totally fine. But reading between the lines is exactly what that is going to be. Reading between the lines. Nice job. Woohoo! Okay. Next one. Let's see. No. No, Kiwi. Step on your pets. Walk the pets? No. 2-step pets. Pets take 2 steps? No. Tiana, have you figured this one out as well?
Is it step backwards?
Oh, it's so close. Not right, but very close. Very, very close. Oh, you guys are close, but you're not there, but you're close. Oh, Fatu, have you figured it out?
Ma'am, is it 4 steps back or 3 or 2?
No.
No.
Good track though. You're on a good track. You're on a good track. Okay, some people, you're also on a good track. Juana, you're on a good step. Anna, so close. So close.
Anna, you just if
You're
you
very,
could
very,
be
very close,
very
Anna.
close, Anna. You just have to look at what's going on with those letters there.
Chicken. Where the hell's chicken coming from? Yes, Tiana. Yes.
Well done.
Tiana, you were so close. You just had your numbers mixed around. 2 steps forward. 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. My ever dramatic Yondela.
Yondela, you'll be fine.
Tiana, enjoy
Tiana,
the
you
win.
really win
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Okay, let's jump back into our maths mode. Before I do that, I'm just going to quickly write up the idea of proving parallel lines. So for anyone who, now you're salty, for anyone who has to prove parallel lines in your exams, this will help you. So we've got a couple of minutes before 12:30. Let me just quickly talk about it. If we are trying to prove, what am I writing? It's an R. If we're trying to prove that lines are parallel, okay, we have to either prove that they are alternate angles are equal, or corresponding angles are equal, or co-interior angles equal 180. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If we have 2 lines like this, okay, and we can prove that this is, so let's say that this, oh gosh, let's say that this is 100 and this is 100. Okay, so they've told us that those are 100. If those two are equal to each other, they are alternate angles that are equal. And so therefore, AB would be parallel to CD. So if those are equal, then this line basically, it's like, think of it like this, like if the angles are equal, then the lines are parallel. Think of it like that. Okay, so that's alternate. If we had corresponding, if this was 60 and this was 60, okay, they are corresponding angles that are equal to each other. So then we could prove that these 2 lines here are parallel. And then the last one is looking at co-interior angles. So if this was 60 and this was 120, if we added those together, we would get 180. And so our co-interior angles would equal 180. That's how we prove parallel lines. Okay. Cool. You're most welcome. Let's go. This question is not tough. It's written on different levels, but other than that, it's not a hard question. You should be able to do it nice and quickly. I'm looking for the volume of this triangular prism. Yolanda, do you mind helping Kinsani? I'm not too sure what's happening there. Andela, on fire today. Keep your answers coming, guys. I'm going to give you 1 more minute because this isn't a nasty question and I want us to be able to spend some time on some of the harder questions today. All right, Burlington, have you got an answer for me?
Since we're doing the surface area, I would say
we're doing the
area.
volume, not surface area.
Volume is half. volume is half times base times height.
And then times by our big height.
Oh, times the extra height. So we'll say half times the base will have to be 4 centimeters. And the height will have to be 3 centimeters. And the extra height will be 10 centimeters.
Cool. So what does that equal?
Mom, wait. Mom, wait.
Bennington, you know I love it when you answer, but it's quite important that you actually have the answer when you put your hand up, because otherwise we'll end up sitting in silence for quite a lot of time. But don't panic. I like that you're answering. It's a good thing that you're answering. Just remember that there's no rush to put your hand up. When you are happy with your full answer, then pop your hand up for me. Okay. But keep on answering. It's a good thing to answer. But yes, this is going to be equal to 60 centimeters cubed. Just be careful with your units. Make sure that you're using the right units that are in the picture. Make sure that it's cubed because it's volume. Where are these numbers coming from? We've got our base. It didn't matter if you wrote 3 times 4 or 4 times 3. It doesn't matter. We've got the height of our triangle, which is our 3. And then we've got our big height of our shape, which is our 10 over there. Okay. Linomta, how can I help?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, with this particular illustration, ma'am, how could you tell where the base is and the height, ma'am? Because I struggled to find that.
Yeah, so sometimes with these ones, that was the only tricky thing with this question. They like to put things on different levels to try and trick your brain. But just remember that if this line over here is 4, then that means that this line over here is going to be 4. And if this line is 3, then this line here would be 3. So you could then use either your top triangle or your bottom triangle to work out your area.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Cool, nice. Thanks for asking. Let's jump to our next one. Take a screenshot if you'd like one, guys, and then I'm going to pop down to our next question. Cool. Now, there's a lot going on in this question. I'm going to tell you there's a very long way to go about this, and then there's a very quick way to go about this. So I'm going to read the question, just for those of you who are struggling to see on your screens, and then I want you to try and figure it out. Okay. The area of the base of the triangular prism below is 36 centimeters squared. The perpendicular height of the triangle is 6 centimeters. And I would like the volume of this triangular prism. So there's a long way to go about this, and then there's a short way to go about this. I want you to think about which way you would like to do it. Think about what the question is telling you. Think about what you know. If you were given this question in a test or an exam, what would you do? Sometimes it doesn't matter to go the long way if it's what you know will help you. I'll just read it one more time. The area of the base of the triangular prism below is 36 centimeters squared, and the perpendicular height of the triangular base is 6 centimeters. What is the volume of this triangular prism? Let's see.
Y'all can do this, my pibs.
No, you wouldn't cry. You would write something down. You would try and fill in what you know. Oh, Piwe, have you found the trick to do this one nice and quickly?
Yes, ma'am, I think so.
Okay, tell me what you did.
Okay, so I said you use Pythag. So because the
No Pythag.
oh
Can I tell you why we can't use Pythag though? Because that is what a lot of people would have thought to do. So they would have, oh goodness, just traveling. They would have seen that that was 11 and then they would have tried to figure out what Pythag was here. You could have done Pythag, but you would have then had to work out this one and that one and then add them together. And that would have been a real pain.
Okay, thank you.
So think about a quicker way to avoid Pythag. So let's not use Pythag in this question. Tiana, have you figured out the quick way of doing this?
Ma'am, can't I use like the normal formula?
What is our normal formula?
The volume equals half times base times height times the big height.
Okay, what would I fill in there then?
Then I said volume equals half times 11. If I'm right, am I right?
That is, so is 11 your base and your height?
Sure, ma'am.
So your height is 6 over here. That's your height. This line down here, that would be your base. We don't have that.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
No, when you figure out the answer, you will really pull your head up. Your hair, you will just touch your hair and try to pull it. That's how easy the answer is.
Guys, I've tried to give you a hint with my highlighting. I'm trying. There's a very quick way to do this. Guys, when we first learned about volume,
you can do this, my plebs.
What did I tell you is the universal formula for volume? Alwande, have you got an answer for us?
Yes, I do have an answer. So we said volume is the area of the base times height of shape. And then when we look at the question, it tells us the area of the base, which is 36, and then we times it to a height of 19.
That's it. That's all we had to do. So what was the answer that you got?
684 centimeters cubed.
Perfect.
Well done.
Nice job. Well done. Guys, that was it. That was all we had to do. All of this other stuff was really just there to throw us off so that we panicked, so that we used the most. So like the thing that most people would have done in this question is they would have used the 8 and the 11 as the base and the height because they look like they are perpendicular to each other. So that's the thing most people would have done. And then they would have times that by the 19, which would have been wrong. The other thing people would have done is they would have tried to find the base in that triangle, which you could have done with Pythagoras, or you could have done by working backwards with your area, but it would have been a real pain to do that. So the key with this one was to just think our universal formula for the volume is the area of the base times the height. That's it. And they told us what the area of the base was. They said the area of the base is 36. So we can just say 36 times 19. Nice job. Well done for spotting that. Why are you square rooting things now? Just remember with volume, that is our universal formula. Our universal formula for volume is area of our base times our height. And we can always use that to like find our way going backwards. Yeah, read your questions slowly and carefully. Okay, take a screenshot if you would like, and then we're going to move down to our next one. All right. This was because I was thinking of Toblerones when I set your guys' quiz for Thursday. Teresa buys a triangular prism filled with chocolate. Yeah, I'll quickly pop back up. Just take a screenshot nice and quick, and then I'll go back down. The one before. Okay. Teresa buys a triangular prism filled with chocolate. The prism is shown below. Show that the perpendicular height of the triangular base is 8 centimeters. Let's see how you go. So there is something that's actually missing here, though. It should be equal like that. So the first part of this question is saying, show that the perpendicular height, and the reason they like to write questions like this, where they say show, is so that if you can't get the right answer, you can still do the next question, because it's basically telling you the perpendicular height is 8. So you just have to show your working to prove that it's 8. But if you can't do it, you can still do the second part of the question. Okay, so for A, the first part of this question is to show that this perpendicular height over here is 8 centimeters. That's all we have to do for this first question. Don't even worry about the second part just yet. Don't worry about this. Just look at that first question. And the first question is just saying, show that the perpendicular height of the triangular base is 8. That means we have to show using Pythagoras. Okay, so if that's 12 at the back over there, then this will be 12. So just think about it like that. Make sure you're happy with your answer.
If we have time, can we go to the previous question? I think Kolofelo wants to take a screenshot.
They did take one.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Linomta, are you going to talk us through this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I saw that the 12 was equal to the other side of the triangle too.
Good.
So I said height equals 10 centimeters squared minus 6 centimeters squared equals 100 minus 36.
Did you say height squared is equal to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then we just need to give our reason always. I know I'm being a pain. Good. Okay,
Yes,
next line.
Height squared equals 100 minus 36.
Good.
Height squared equals 64. Therefore, height equals 8 centimeters.
Perfect. Nice job. 100%. Perfect. Okay, so all we're doing is we are showing that that height over there is equal to 8 centimeters. Okay, so now we have proven that it's 8 centimeters by using Pythagoras. We're good to go. Okay, and that I think is probably about 2 marks. So now we already have 2 marks in our pocket. Now, if we couldn't do that, we don't panic, because now we know that that perpendicular height is 8. They've told us that it's 8, so we're allowed to use it. Okay, the second part of this question is saying, now that you know that that is 8, calculate the volume of this prism. So now that you know that that's 8, I want you to calculate the volume of this prism. When you have your answer, chuck it in the chat for me. And then I think we'll have time for one last question tonight. So as soon as you're happy with your answer, chuck it in the chat. Yes, Asanda. You just need to unmute on your side.
Yes, ma'am. Can you
Hi.
please? Hi, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please repeat? How did you get to the last answer? What did you do?
Okay, so we could see that this 12 over here is the same as this 12 over here. Okay, and then I told you that those two are the same length as each other. So that means that this length, oh gosh, that means that this length here is 6 and this length here is 6. So then if I'm looking at this triangle over here, I can use Pythagoras by saying 10, 6, and h. And I can try and find h with Pythagoras.
Ma'am, I still don't understand.
Okay, where are you struggling to understand from though?
That how did you get the 8 at the bottom? Because I only ended up with 65.
64.
Yes, 64.
Okay, so when we get to this point, h squared is equal to 64. So if I want h to be alone, I have to square root both of those sides. And the square root of 64 is going to give me 8.
Oh, ma'am, I understand. Yes, now I understand.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Good. Well done for asking. That's the only way we learn. Okay, Tiana, what is my volume here?
Ma'am, before I tell me what's the volume there,
Yeah.
I just want to know if we put in our formula for like the base, are we gonna say 12 or 6?
You're gonna say 12.
Okay. Then our volume, are we gonna say half times 12 times 8 times 20.
Good.
And then it's gonna equal to, our volume is gonna equal to 960 centimeters cubed.
Perfect. 100%. Nice job. Good. Okay. Take a screenshot if you would like. The first part is just proving that our perpendicular height is 8 centimeters. And then the second part is just a nice, easy volume question of our triangular prism. Let's try and do one last question tonight. A one day is, oh, sorry, I think your hand was up to answer. I'll look for your hand in the next question. Okay, cool. You know, I love my spicy questions. The volume of the triangular prism below is 160 centimeters cubed. Find the value of y. I'll put some hints on here. They've told you that these lines are the same, which means that that's x. That's my first hint. My second hint is Pythagoras. And those are the only hints you really need. Let's see if anyone is able to solve this. I will be so chuffed if someone can solve this. So let's see. Don't panic. Remember, I want you to imagine you're sitting in a test and you're given this. I want you to try something. So just like try a whole bunch of different things and see if it works, basically. And I think you'll surprise yourselves. I think some of you are actually going to end up figuring it out. Yes, I can see that you have internet problems. I'm not able to help you. But remember that these videos are all online, so you can watch them. You can watch them online after the lesson, and you'll be able to get anything you're needing from them. So don't panic. Let's see who can solve this question. I'll be very excited if someone can solve this question. Y is not equal to 20. Y is not equal to 12. I'm going to give you guys 1 more minute, and then I'll take you out of your misery. Remember that this is a problem-solving question. This would be right at the end of your exam. It's not like expected for you to just know what to do. If you do it, I'm really proud of you. Like, well done for problem solving and figuring it out. But if you don't get it, I don't want you to panic. I just wanted to stretch those of you who are understanding this section quite well. It's actually going to be a whole number. Okay, I have to start talking, otherwise we're going to run out of time. So if I look at this triangle over here, okay, and I use Pythagoras to help me out, I could say that x squared plus x squared is equal to 8 squared, all right, because of Pythagoras. So even if you wrote that, you would have a mark, which is better than nothing. Oh, one day I can't, we're going to run out of time otherwise. Otherwise, I wish I could. I wish I was made of time and I could give you all the time in the world. X squared plus x squared, that's going to give us 2x squared. So we're going to have 2x squared, because they like terms, is going to be equal to 8 squared, which is 64. Okay, which means x squared is going to equal 32. And then I'm actually going to leave this in what we call surd form. Remember, surd form is when we have a square root sign. So I'm going to say x is going to equal the square root of 32. The reason I'm keeping it in surd form is just because it'll make my answer a little bit easier at the end. Okay, cool. So that's what x is. Now we have to think about the other information we've been given. So they've told us that the volume is equal to 160. Now we know that volume is equal to half base times height times height. So that means that's going to be equal to half of x times x, right? And you're going to see something now, which you'll be happy with, times y. What is x times x? Guys, what is x times x? What is x times x? Don't overthink it. Oh, careful, Pee-wee. Yes, x squared. X, guys, just very, 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 very big note. X plus x is equal to 2x. X times x is equal to x squared. Just remember that for your algebra. Okay, so this is actually saying half of x squared times y is equal to my volume. And we know our volume is equal to 160. Okay, but we actually figured out what x squared was over there. X squared is equal to 32. We figured that out already. So we can now say 160 is equal to a half times 32 times y. So 160 is equal to a half times 32, which is 16, times y. So we can divide both of these sides by 16. And we will see that y, oh gosh, is equal to 10 centimeters. And that's our whole question. It's quite cool, hey? So you could have done it if you had, so if you had worked out x as a decimal, for example, I think you would have gotten 5,6 6, somewhere around there. So if you used 5,66, your answer might be like a little bit of a decimal, and that would have been okay. So I would have given it to you if you had made like, yeah, if you used the decimal, and that's fine. So let's just quickly figure out what that would have been. If you used 5,66, you would have said, so 160 and then divided by 5,66. So then you would have gotten 9,98 or 9,99. And so then you would have gotten your answer. No, Kulafelo, I know. I saw that you were right. I didn't want to give it away at that point, but I did see your answer, and you did. I was very, very, very happy. So this type of question, like, it's very unlikely that you would see this exact question because it's a problem-solving question, and problem-solving questions are always different in every test or exam. These are just like problem-solving questions are a way of applying knowledge that we know from the section and then applying it in a different way. So you wouldn't have had to do it exactly like I've done on the board. You could have done a whole bunch of different things that made more sense inside your brain. This is just one way that we could have gone about solving this question. Tiana, how can I help?
Ma'am, this question is not for me.
It's a mean question. It's a mean question. But if I didn't stretch you guys, you would be sad.
Ma'am, but what if, okay, how do I know when I can leave it, the 32 like that? Like, imagine I didn't, like,
yeah, no, but so generally, general rule is don't, rather keep it as a decimal. And so if you're wanting to go into the exam with one general rule, rather make it a decimal, because they would still give you the marks if you had written 9,98.
Okay, ma'am, so how much does ma'am think this is out of it? Better be out of, so 5 marks.
No, so the thing is, they wouldn't actually make this question out of a huge amount of marks because they would know that lots of people wouldn't be able to get it. So they would make it max out of 3 marks because it's problem solving.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, last question of the night, and then we will go on to our poll. Linomta, how can I help?
Ma'am, is the difference between the two formulas that you taught us, the area of base times height and the half base times height, is the difference the rectangular prism and then the triangular prism?
So triangular prism is just like whenever we're doing volume, it's always the area of the base times the height. So in a rectangular prism, the area of our base would be length times width times height, because that would be our volume. Yes, and in a triangular prism, it would be half base times height, because it's a triangle.
So ma'am, the formula that we did last week is for rectangular prisms, and the one we did today is for
triangles.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Okay, guys, I am handing you on to Yolanda to quickly do our pace poll.